I've noticed a thread in this thing. Kwani hii kukuja home late, mtu hawezi kuwa anafanya kazi.
Kazi gani Willy? Kazi gani?
Tuna hustle kwa hizi streets.
Wapi? Tunawajua, tunawaona.
Korada. Ama is the communication of...
You know, the hardest person to fight is the person you love. You never win. And that's why sometimes some people will find it easier to stay away.
Right.
Because it's both an internal battle and external. How do you fight? How do you program the same heart to fight the person that you love? Because you care for this person and then you're upset with them. How are you supposed to deal with that? Sometimes when people stay away, it's because of that kind of confusion. It's like the computer hung. So they'd rather stay off and have the peace. Not necessarily that they're fighting, though that also normally escalates issues. Because if I don't go home, then you begin to think I'm staying away because I'm upset. But sometimes I'm staying away because I'm confused. I don't know how to handle that thing.
Or even hurt.
Yes. And then there'll be a reaction. That you see you're coming home late and you're doing this, you don't even care. So we're not talking. So we keep on shifting issues into other things. I think the biggest thing that both sides have got to learn is how to express themselves and how to allow the other person to express themselves. And every conversation needs to have an end goal, which is we want to fix something.
Yes.
So that even if I didn't like what you said, after it, the question is, so what do we do with this information to make things better for us? There has got to be an end goal. Otherwise, there'll always be blame against blame. You did this, I did this, the other day you did this. No, you did this the other day. No, before I did that thing, you did this the other day.
Yeah.
It never really gets to end. So communication must be very precise. It must be very, there has to be a very clear goal about what we want to do. We're talking about this because we want to solve this, we want to save the relationship, we want to grow, we want to become better, not to hurt each other. Right.
And I'd advise that people be very deliberate about their intrapersonal relationships as much as the relationships they have with the people that they love. Hakuna relationship yenye happen very spontaneously. It takes a lot of work. The same way wewe mwenyewe ukitaka kuishi lazima make sure umedishi, umekunywa maji, umerest. It's the same way when you love someone, you have to make sure you communicate, you care for them, you're very intentional about your love. And we all need it intrinsically. Like it's a very deep need. We all want to be loved, we all want validation, we all want to feel needed. And that's just how it is at a very social level. So the way you put so much effort in taking care of yourself, you have to make sure you put the same effort in being friends or being in other relationships with other people. And choreni hizi stories za kuargue sana about who is right or who is correct, especially if you're in a conflict where you love someone. Venye tu CJ amesema, the goal should be where, and if someone comes to you also, don't think about it as anakuja na issues, dem ni nagging. Think about it as, imagine amenitrust. CJ said this. Imagine amenitrust enough kunikujia mimi, kuniambia hizo vitu zote zenye. Because if they didn't care, then they wouldn't put in any effort to come and tell you, I didn't like when you did this. So when guys are talking and trying to solve conflict, it's the two of you against the issue as opposed to the two of you against each other. Make sure you remember that your goal is to save the relationship and fix things. Work on your emotion. I love everything CJ said today. I wish I see you.
Emotional intelligence.
Work on your emotional.
We should bottle it up and sell it.
Hizo vitu zote. Hizo vitu amesema about learning to control your emotions. Don't think like you'll always get away with a crazy emotional reaction. One day you'll do something and it'll be the last you'll slap someone and then they never wake up, and then who's gonna listen until you loved them? It's as simple as that. Are you taking here a big thing to happen so that it's in that small reaction that you have? So work on your emotional intelligence. It puts you way ahead of even your peers or everyone else around you. When you teach yourself how to hold back on reaction, how to listen better, how to understand, utapata mki-argue mkiwa heated, kuna vitu zilikuwa zinakupita because you weren't listening to understand. You just wanted to listen so you can have something next to say. Then nashinda kwa hiyo limbo ya, but ni wewe, but ni mimi, but if you're kind and you're patient and you're willing to offer grace, and this should come very naturally when you love someone. you start to listen more, and tutachana na hizi arguments za oh men don't do this, women don't do this. Bruh, sisi mi nimelearn at 25 na sasa niko 27. Unaweza learn at 55, unaweza learn at 75. It's just a deliberation thing. You have to be very intentional, Useme. I want my relationship with QT to continue. So what do I have to do? She likes phone calls. Let me call her. Because it gives her the feeling she needs out of our relationship. Na mimi napenda kutextiwa. Ni text. Like, let's do that for each other because it's the love that we have going on. So you have to be very deliberate. Don't just sit back and say, she's my girlfriend. See, she lives with me. Ni hizo vitu ndogo kama kwambia mtu you look beautiful today. Because if you don't ever tell them the whole year that they're beautiful, there's other people telling them and they start to notice, yo, CJ doesn't even compliment me. So how can he love me? And the last time he said I look good was 5 years ago, 3 years ago. You have to be very intentional, please. And work on your emotional intelligence. Let the men work on themselves so that they're able to communicate. And let the women teach themselves to create safe spaces for everyone. And I know there's someone who say, oh, but madam, ni sawa, nimewasikia na najua. Na najua pia machali wana vitu wana go through, but let's put the work in.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So it's